How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another classic movie review. This is my review of The Towering Inferno. This is an action adventure 1970s disaster flick that came out in 1974. This movie was directed by John Guillerman and produced by Irwin Allen, who also produced The Poseidon Adventure just 2 years prior. And this movie was part of that 1970s disaster movie craze. Movies like Airport and Airport 75, Airport 77, Earthquake with Charlton Heston. You had Roller Coaster with George Segal, which I also enjoy. This movie is based on two different novels that were combined to make this one movie. The Tower, written by Richard Martin Stern, and The Glass Inferno, written by Thomas N. Scorsese and Frank M. Robinson. And this has a hell of a cast. You got Paul Newman, you got Steve McQueen. I believe Fred Astaire is also in the film. William Holden, Faye Dunaway, Susan Blakely, Robert Wagner's in the film. You also have Richard Chamberlain, uh, even freaking O.J. Simpson is in this movie, playing a security guard. So the premise of this film involves a high-rise in San Francisco that has just been completed, and it's supposed to be pretty high-tech for 1974. And so everyone's sort of getting together to celebrate. They're having this big party, and it's a 138-story building, and you have a bunch of uh, celebrities there. You got politicians there, and everybody that's involved with getting the building up and running. And so William Holden from The Bridge on the River Kwai and Sunset Boulevard, many other classic movies, he is the builder in the film. He is the one responsible for all the construction. Richard Chamberlain is his son-in-law in the movie, and you have Paul Newman, who is the architect. And on the 81st floor during the party, early in the film, a fire begins. Some very shoddy electrical wiring, with some very poorly placed oily rags nearby, ends up starting this fire. And people in the party on like the 130 something floor, uh, once the fire gets out of hand, everyone in the party starts to eventually become trapped, and becomes a big problem for all those at the party and in the building. And there is a scene where Robert Wagner is with his girlfriend in the movie. Uh, they get away from the party. They go to this private room, like this apartment in the building, where there's a fire that uh, eventually reaches this room, and the girl becomes trapped in there, and Robert Wagner has to try and save her, and it's a pretty tense moment. There's all kinds of moments through this movie that really work because it is the 70s, so we're dealing with a lot of practical effects, fire that looks real, that's probably was real since they couldn't fake that kind of thing back then. So there's a lot of intense moments in this movie that really work and stand out, and to this day are pretty solid thrills. Paul Newman's character finds out very early about the substandard wiring that is the cause of the fire and brings it to the attention of William Holden, who is pissed off when he hears about this because it was his son-in-law, played by Richard Chamberlain, who was responsible for making sure all the material was what was required. And I guess he decided to cut some corners, get cheaper material, which is why the fire has started in the 81st floor. And you got O.J. Simpson in the film as a security guard who's trying to help out with saving people in the film. Faye Dunaway is also very good in the film. She is the love interest to the Paul Newman character, and they have a nice moment when they get to have a love scene earlier in the film before all the craziness starts with the fire and all the rescue attempts. And they have some nice chemistry between the two of them. She is part of that group that's in the party during all the commotion and the chaos when everyone is waiting to be rescued. Um, Also in that group is Fred Astaire, who plays kind of this aging con man. Whenever I watch this, I do wonder why they would give Fred Astaire such a small part, such a small written part. So I kind of just chalk it up to a kind of a glorified cameo, since, like I said, he doesn't have much to do in the film, but he is playing it pretty straight and very serious. And you're not really used to seeing him play a character like this that's sort of downtrodden and downbeat, and uh, you don't really see him smile too much, and for a good reason. He's in like a life and death situation in the movie, so it's not the Fred Astaire that a lot of people know from the '50s, from when he was a lot younger. But it is kind of neat to see a different side to him, and even though it's not a very big part, and that he doesn't have tons of dialogue in the movie, for the little bits that they do have him in there, he is pretty effective in showing this very vulnerable, scared old man. About halfway through the movie, Steve McQueen as the fire chief arrives into the film when the fire department shows up, and he is very good in all of his scenes. He's super heroic and very hands-on, knows exactly what to do, and he has a great command of the screen. Him and Paul Newman really carry the movie in their scenes, and um, his character is a bit of a mystery because we don't get too much of, as far as his character, we don't get that much of a background on him. We just see Steve McQueen show up and starts to basically save the day. But he has a very cool way about him, as always, because it is, Steve McQueen. And those of you that have seen him in stuff like Bullet or The Great Escape, you know that he's always going to be super cool. For 1974, the special effects in this movie still work very well. All the optical effects, the blue screen work, the model work, a lot of the scenes involving the rescue attempts with the helicopter, a lot of the practical work with the fire in the sets in the film, still very, very believable because none of it is CGI. It's all done in camera, and you got real stuntmen. You got all kinds of things happening towards the end with fire and water and explosions. And it's a very thrilling movie. There are some really tense moments, moments of great heroism, moments of tragedy. We do lose people throughout the film, and you start to wonder who's next and who's going to stick around. It's much like the Poseidon Adventure in that way, and it does follow that formula. And in a way, um, it kind of perfects the disaster movie to a certain degree. If it had more advanced special effects, if this was to come out today, I'm sure that would be more improved and look amazing. But as far as a big, almost 3 hour disaster movie with such a big cast and pretty grand scale, this is one of the best ones in terms of the scope and the execution of the story. All the characters are given some moments to shine and have little moments of depth to their characters. This movie can be found on streaming, I know, because I have come across it on Amazon Prime, but the hard copies are out there. If you want to get your own, that's what it looks like. This is my copy of the Blu-ray, The Towering Inferno from 1974. As you can see, a lot of disaster and tragedy there, top of the building. But yeah, it's a good one. So thank you very much for watching this classic movie review. If you're into this kind of thing, if you're into classic movies, hit that bell and subscribe. And don't forget to share, comment, like, and thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate your support. And please look out for the next classic movie review. Everybody take care. Until next time, peace out.